Hi everybody, this is Godgirlg and I am back with a video. This video is actually on request. My email since my update that I did on my meeting my husband and marriage and all of that, it's been blowing up with what did I do more specifically of narrowing down part of the work. And as you know, the videos that I've put on my channel, that actually was part of the work. Mastering your singleness, understanding what you're looking for in a mate and things like that. So, go back and look at that, mastering lustful thoughts. And I'm still getting a lot of questions on lustful thoughts. Go back, please. And I have a video that is dealing with lustful thoughts. So please take a look at that. Some really valuable information in there. And it really is just saying no. Be strong enough to say no, but there's some really, really good coping mechanisms, tools, and stuff that I provide in that video. So I'm really going to challenge you to go back and look at that before sending me an email about lustful thoughts and how to control it. Some of you have already responded to. But now on to the next question, because there's so much to share that it's better for me to do a video than to actually put it in writing, because then I can refer people to the video because I'm just getting that many emails. So I attended a seminar that was by a local church here about, oh my goodness, maybe 2 years ago. I'm trying to think now. It's been quite a while. And it's called Living Single Again, or either Living Single. Like I said, it's been a while. This seminar was, and you can order the information online, and I'll try to post it in the comment section or the information section of the video. But that seminar changed my life, and I took that seminar at, I was 40, 41. So it's never too late to learn new things about the process. Just when you think you've got it down, you got to recheck yourself, because obviously what you're doing might not be working. And I know some of you probably don't want to hear that because you want things your way, but how's that working for you? Okay, so anyway, keep tuning in. So I'm going to give you a couple of things to think about, to consider, but you really, again, this seminar was completely eye-opening. You can just order the information, and does it seem a little hokey and maybe somewhat outdated? It could, but the content in this information packet that you can get was really good. And if you can find a local church in your area that is actually able to do, that you can attend the seminar in person, it's really, really good. So step number one, before you're even in a relationship, this is really the stuff that you need to do. Do not wait until you are in a relationship to say, oh, I'm going to put up these boundaries. No, you need to know before you get involved how you want someone to handle you, and you need to know what type of person that you want to be involved with. I've stated in a previous video, you can't go to the grocery store without a list, because you'll come out there with a lot of stuff that you don't need, stuff that you already had at home and you didn't know. You got to have a list to be the most productive, the most efficient, to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Consulting God. That's why you don't need to be in a relationship when you're creating this list. You don't. And for those of you that are in a relationship, try to get the list together, but it's going to be hard for you to do that. But you can do it, but I'm going to really challenge you, for those who are not in a relationship yet, to do the list before you start on your journey, because it will help you tremendously, because you'll know exactly when Mr. Wrong or Ms. Wrong show up, you will know that ain't the one. Okay, so the first thing is that you have to set your boundaries. And what I mean by setting your boundaries, you got to know what's comfortable for you. You got to know what, whether it's venue, area, how you want someone to treat you from a standpoint of picking you up from a date. So we're talking about initial things, setting boundaries. Don't go over somebody's house. Don't stay out past a certain time. There's just a lot of little things like that that you really need to think about as far as when you start in the dating field. calling a friend to let them know, hey, I'm going out with this person. If you're doing online dating, you need to Skype, not text, not have them send you pictures. You need to Skype with them before meeting with them to make sure that what they're doing and what they're telling you about themselves is accurate, because people lie. Okay, you guys know that one. The other thing that I'm going to challenge you to do as well is, let's talk about being equally yoked. A lot of people want to say equally yoked means that you have a belief in God. Okay, that's partly true. It's not just about spiritual. It's about, are we able, do we see eye to eye on many things? Are we similar? Are we alike? Do we have the same ideals and goals in life and for family life? Do we have the same belief in taking care of ourselves, in health? If you're not equally yoked, it's going to make that relationship very difficult to hold on to, whether you are in a marriage or dating. And they say this whole adage of opposites attract. No, I really don't see that. Most of the research that I've done and marriages that I have viewed are people that they have the very same things, same morals, same background. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's also tied to an age, but I'm just saying there are generational gaps. I'm just putting it out there. There are generational gaps. I'm not saying being limited by an age, but I'm saying that there are generational gaps that are actually huge in understanding whether or not you guys can fit together perfectly or well. If you got somebody that's older than you and the other person's younger than you, then you know that person that's older might want to do more controlling of things, more controlling of money, more controlling of your time. So you have to have those taken into consideration. So now let's talk about your requirements list. And I've mentioned this several times in several videos. You have to have a requirements list. Now, I'm not talking about 100 things. I'm not even talking about 20 things. I'm talking your basic requirement. And in biblical sense, it would be your reasonable service. What is it that you are looking for? You divide that into 4 categories, and those 4 categories: spiritual, and it's not in any order too: spiritual, physical, work life, and family life. So let's talk about spiritual. Spiritual means, what are my base requirements? What are my base requirements for what I am looking for? Do they have to be saved? Do they have to be baptized? Do they have to be involved in ministry? Do they have to be involved in, or can they just be a layperson, someone that just comes to church? Are you okay with that? Are you okay with someone who's saved, goes to church, proclaims that they're saved, but they don't go to church that much? They go to, they go to online church. They go to TD Jakes Church online. Are you okay with that? What are your minimum requirements? Is it having a relationship with God? Is that your minimum requirement? So you can divide then that one category of spiritual into basic requirements. And for those of you that want to take it further, this is like, then you can talk about the bonus things in that category that would be good for you. So not just he has to have a relationship with God, but the bonus would be that he's involved in some type of ministry. Could be something like that. Then let's talk about physical. Now, people, let's talk about physical for a minute. And I've had a couple of videos on this as well. People, we have to be reasonable about our physical requirements. Not everybody is going to come out of the house looking like a model. Not everybody's going to come out looking like that. You want someone, a mate that is attractive, or someone that you're seeking to be attractive, but you have to be reasonable. And you have to make sure that what you are requiring as your reasonable service in the physical category is something that you can also bring to the table. If you're looking for tall, dark, and handsome, well, what does tall, dark, and handsome look like? Look for in a mate. You have to always think about the opposite. If you want, ladies, a man who is built like Mr. Universe, well, what kind of woman do you think Mr. Universe is looking for? You have to really, really consider that. Ladies, if you want somebody who is making six figures, what are you bringing to the table? You do not get in a dating relationship, men and women, for someone to rescue you. You do not need rescuing. You rescue yourself. And that's one of the things I say. A mate should not be a financial plan for you. I have seen both sides where the men use women and the women use men financially. And that's not always a good thing to do. So you got the physical category that we just talked about. Let's talk about work too. What's your minimum requirement? Do they need to at least have a full-time job? Does it have to be at least a certain dollar amount? And you might want to put in a requirement, if it is truly your requirement, that it be a legitimate job. Not hustling. If that, my thing is they need to have a legitimate job, making a decent living to where they can survive on their own. And I want them at a minimum to have what I have, meaning not at the level. I want them to have a car, a house, and can take care of themselves, and health insurance, health and dental insurance, and vision insurance, right? Those are my base requirements. They're handling their business in a manner in which they can do it. Now, some of you, it might not be a house and you don't have to do that. For me, the reason why I said that is understand the struggles of trying to maintain a house. It can be hard. And if you don't understand that, I wanted someone that understood that. That was important to me. I didn't say it had to be a big house. So we talked about, work. So let's talk about family. How many children do they have to have or don't have? You might want to put a limit on, is it okay if a person comes to you and they have 5 kids or 10 kids? You need to be honest with that, about what you're looking for. Let's go back to physical. I forgot something. This is one area that you're going to want to be very clear. And I'm going to say this, and some of you, I'm going to ruffle some feathers with it, but you got to be real. You have to look at all aspects of what you're willing to take care of, even with health. If you're not willing to take on someone that has a lot of health issues, you have to be honest with yourself. If that's not an issue for you, then you need to state that. Because you can have somebody that they look like the picture perfect of health, but they have a lot of health issues. And you have to be real with yourself and deal with that before you meet anybody, so you know where your boundaries are. And just be honest and be real, because the person will appreciate that. So again, back to family. How many kids at a minimum do they have to have? Or how many kids do you guys, if you're getting married, how many kids do you want together? Do they value family time? What types of vacations do they like to take? How would they nurture? What do you feel is nurturing of the relationship? But just identify the key things, and maybe 3 things in each category. And then you again have your bonus section. So put it down on paper before you get in a relationship. And then you pray on it. I mean, it's a really good job to pray on it, because if you're not being real about that, God will help you see yourself for who you are and understand the type of person that would be good for you as well. And here's the other thing. Know yourself. If you know being with people that can't make a decision irritates the living daylights out of you, then you need to put that down, that they need to be a decision maker. If you know that someone who... if you can't deal with someone who is not a vegetarian, you need to make sure that you list that down. If that's a deal breaker for you. If you are dealing with someone, here's something else was on my list. They couldn't be no smoker, because if you love Jesus, I don't want you smoking. I'm just saying. I'm really just saying. But be honest with it, and don't be afraid to tell somebody no if after getting to know them, you see that they're kind of not following your reasonable requirements, it's okay to say, I don't think this is working. It is okay to say that. And the person will appreciate that. And I said in my other video, and I want to say this again, stop chasing after a relationship. Don't chase after somebody that don't want you. I pause for effect. Don't do that. That's not good. So hopefully some of the things that I've stated and shared will help some of you that have been really, really asking about it. As a side note, yes, marriage is real good. Second time around did it for me, y'all, and I'm very, very happy. So if you have any other questions that maybe that this video or any other videos that I have out there, if it did not answer, just hit me up an email at godsgirlg@gmail.com. Thank you so much and have a good one.